In this video, I want to dive deeper into Sophia and kind of give you guys more of a backstory. So, to make this as simple as possible, Gnosis is the Greek word for knowledge. Sophia was a divine being in the higher realms. Sophia means wisdom. That's the Greek word for wisdom. So, basically, I don't know if you guys know the creation story, but Sophia made a flawed creation. We call this creation Yaldabaoth in Gnosticism, and you can also say the demiurge, but I'll get into this shortly. But since she created Yaldabaoth without her divine counterpart, it was a flawed creation, and it was an imbalanced creation, which led to Yaldabaoth being very chaotic. And I just feel like Yaldabaoth falling is a representation of all of our souls falling into chaos, but we'll get into that. Her creation, like I just explained, Yaldabaoth is trapped in chaos, because when she seen that her creation was flawed and imbalanced, she threw it out of the pleroma. What the pleroma is what basically what Christians call heaven, Gnostics call the pleroma. So she threw Yaldabaoth out of the pleroma. It's not funny, but I mean, we're all here now, and this is the story of how we all got here. So I can laugh. I'm allowed to laugh about it. It's all said and done. It's our job now to figure out how to get our soul back to, where it came from, back to the pleroma. So Sophia and Yaldabaoth's story mirror the human soul experience. Her story is like a map of the inner world of our souls, right? And this map shows the soul's fall into the lower dimensions and the path it must follow to rise again. It's actually a reflection of all of our individual spiritual journeys. It offers guidance through symbols and hidden texts, and we'll get into a symbol later on. It offers guidance through symbols and hidden text to who is ready and who is ready to remember who they truly are. According to the Gnostic story, Sophia desired to know the light more deeply. She reached out toward the unknowable source without her divine counterpart. This wasn't sinful, but it was unbalanced. This desire caused her creation to be flawed. The imbalance caused Yaldabaoth to be chaotic. The fall wasn't about punishment. It was about separation and moving away from unity into separation. This represents our souls. Like Sophia, our souls are curious, right? Like our souls came down from the higher realms and was trapped into physical matter, right? Into the material. So our souls are entangled into the illusions of this physical world. And since it's chaotic and it's separation, we deal with things such as suffering, desire, fear, and separation. When we are born into this world, we have a strong spark of the divine. As we live, we become more identified with the material. We can't remember, and we can't identify with this spark as much. We identify with our physical bodies, right? The material. We begin to believe this physical and material body is all that we are. And even in her fallen state, right? Sophia longed for her return back to the pleroma, back to source. And this is true in each of our souls. We always have a longing. We have a void that seems to never be filled. This longing invites us to look within and find the spark within. And the spark is within each of us. we are born, sorry, 1 second, guys. Okay. Now, when we are born into this world, we have a strong spark of the divine, right? And Yaldabaoth had this same strong spark. So after Yaldabaoth fall into the lower realms, Yaldabaoth finds himself surrounded by darkness. He's trapped in these chaotic regions ruled by lower forces. And what do we see today? So today we see everything around you. You look around, and if it's not total chaos, it's total darkness. We see so much. Just turn on news today on your TV, and I wouldn't recommend doing it, but if you really want to get a grasp of how just these negative forces are ruled, just look at what's going on in the mainstream and everything like that, and it's really apparent. So these forces often try to keep Yaldabaoth in a state of confusion and suffering, and a lot of the times that's what we're in collectively. Our souls are so trapped because it's done by design. It's by design that we stay stuck in a constant state of confusion and suffering. A lot of our suffering is because of our confusion. We don't know what the fuck to believe. We don't know what the fuck to do. We don't know what's fake or real with this AI shit. You know what I mean? So it's getting worse, and now we're gonna. I know you're wondering, like, yeah, it's getting bad, but what do we do? How do we find salvation, redemption for our souls? I'm about to get into that right now. Now, the number 13 in Gnostic texts are very symbolic. They have symbolic meaning. So the number 13, I mentioned, like how I mentioned earlier, there's symbols with Gnostic texts. It help you find guidance if you're truly ready. So number 13 refers to the 13 realms between the world of light and the world of matter. Each of these realms are realms that the soul has to move up, like a spiritual ladder. These realms need keys to be opened individually. Each needs their own moments of gnosis, which I remember I told you, gnosis means knowledge for Greek. So all you really need is moments of knowledge within your soul. And when our soul is trapped in these physical bodies, we struggle with physical things like greed and pride and ego, and like each of these realms can be looked at in the physical as, you know, confusion, fear, pride, attachment, things like that we suffer in the material. And we must pass through these things. With each realization, we release a little more of the illusion and draw closer to the truth within us. Now, Gnosticism, Christ, and this is where we get into the Christianity, because I refer to myself as a Gnostic Christian, right? Because, like, you can see right here, right? I'm a Gnostic all day, but I still have the Holy Bible. And I know it's not, a lot of Gnostics don't like that, but when you really look past all of the ego and the humanity of it, like just being in a human body, the material, you realize the message is all that matters. And Christ is mentioned in the Bible, and I believe that Christ is not, and I'm about to get into this, is not the Savior, but Christ is the way through self-realization and self-redemption. So let's get into how Christ plays a big role into Gnosticism. Not only Christianity, but yes, Christ is in Gnosticism. So the role is different than Christianity of Christ. He's not looked at as an external savior. He represents something deeper. He's the inner light and awakened consciousness within the soul, guiding it back to its divine origin. And according to Gnostic texts, after Sophia cries because of her flawed creation, it's Christ that hears her cries and responds. He reveals himself step by step. This shows us that the spiritual redemption is not instant. It unfolds as the soul becomes ready. Christ brings knowledge, and his mission is to awaken the divine spark that lives within each of our souls. He does this by teaching the mysteries of the spiritual world, showing how to ascend from ignorance to the truth. He can be looked at as a guide and a mirror. Christ helps by illuminating the path back to source, because what I believe in is that Sophia made the creation without Christ's, guidance. And if Sophia would have got Christ's guidance in the first place, this would not be a flawed creation. It would still be in unity and oneness. Right? So Christ helps by illuminating the path back to source. He doesn't force or initiate this process. He waits for the soul to cry out, to desire to be returned. Receiving Gnosis is an esoteric process. And make sure you guys, let me know in the comments how you feel about this, because I'm preaching right now. And I ain't preaching no bullshit. I'm preaching how to get your soul, how to understand your soul better. Your soul, not what nobody else tell you to believe. This is coming from straight within you. You believe whatever you believe in. The journey to salvation, and it's you saving yourself through your own knowledge. And ain't no Christian preacher gonna tell you that. I'm not against Christianity, but I'm against this bullshit that, fucking there's gonna be somebody to come save us, because we all know there ain't no fucking savior. So receiving Gnosis is an esoteric process, and it begins with an inner call, right? So a sense that something greater exists. This is the presence of Christ within us. And I believe Christ is the way. I just don't think that. I think you have to find Christ for yourself. Christ is not going to come to you. Like I said, he waits for the soul to cry. He waits for the soul to cry out, to desire to return first. Now, Christ speaks when we are ready to listen. Right? Yeah. Christ speaks when we are ready to listen. No matter how far the soul has fallen, Christ is willing to guide it back up. Each stage of the return reflects a process of spiritual healing and transformation. Now, the final state of journey is the return back to the paroma, back to source, where all of our souls came from. After this spiritual healing and transformation, the soul is welcomed back into the paroma, the divine fullness from which each soul comes from. All right. So basically, guys, I just wanted to say that with confusion and a lack of knowing and understanding, it's basically impossible to return back to the source, because you don't know anything. You don't know where to go. Your soul doesn't know that it's even in a trap. You think that this is all, like, you think the physical, the material, our bodies, right? Our bodies are all that we are. And that's why it's so hard to receive, to not even receive, but to understand how true salvation is received and is reached. Because we don't really receive salvation. We have to reach it. And that's what I wanted to kind of dive deep about in this video, that we have to receive. No, we have to reach out to Christ and have him guide us as a mirror. And we have to guide our own selves back to source. And that's what I'm going to leave you guys with today. Make sure, you leave a comment, and you guys have a great day, Stay safe, and peace.